Okay guys, so you want to own another van and put a driver in it. This is part of it. Got the van back. Driver's done. Had some work done on the van, which I'll get into that later. Had a cut rate mechanic try to do some work on this thing. So between the mechanic and the driver, this is the van that I got. Hopefully that you can see that. All that touching. I believe this is mostly from the mechanic, but all that shit, that's from the driver. Yep. I'm gonna start off with this refrigerator. There were some perishables in there. Smells like a dead body in there. We'll get it cleaned up and see if I can get it back to original state. If not, I may have to replace this refrigerator. Now, he came by and got a few of his things, but this is what's left that I still have to clean up. Like I said, this is the fun part of owning a van with a driver in it. Yep. Good times. So I'm gonna box all the shit up that's his, get everything out that's mine. I'm gonna empty this thing completely. Depending on what it looks like under this wood, might be replacing this wood. Got to service that diesel heater, and yeah, that's pretty much it, man. This is fun times. It's be an all-day deal and then some. So, alright guys, I just want to give you a look at the van before I get to it, and then I'll show you afterwards. I'll holler at you guys in a little bit. Okay, so we're going in. Going into the refrigerator. This is going to be all bad. Here we go. Are you ready? Pack-cow! Yeah. Hold on. Let's put you guys right there. Let's see it. Oh. Maybe that'll work. Let's do away with all this shit. Oh my god. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh my god. Oh. 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 Oh, that's all bad. Like, that is disgusting. Whew. I think the Rona's in here. I think the Rona's hiding in here. We found the origin of Rona. Oh my god, that's disgusting. Oh yeah. That is pure death in there. Oh my god, pure death. Oh, dear Lord. Oh god. These cans are half empty. Ow! Ow! Woohoo! Shit, I got the Rona. All right, I'm gonna tackle this, and then I'll show you when I'm done. All right, is this crazy or what? Look, look. Do you see hairs? You see that? You see all them hairs? How? How do you do that? Like, yeah, how the fuck do you do that? All right, that's progress so far. That's just crazy. I just thought I'd share that, man. Remember, you want to be a fleet owner, or at least even own one, put a driver in it. This is part of what you can expect. Good times. So I'm sitting here waiting for my 2017 Transit to be finished so that I can take it to meet the new driver and get him off to Arkansas. Sitting here with big honky rough love Big J. But this is part of the fun. This is part of the fun of having more than one vehicle and having to deal with the driver and breakdowns and whatnot. But hopefully they'll be done here shortly and we can get on down the road. We got to go about 2 hours south down to Columbus to meet up with the driver. And the driver has to drive about 12 hours to get to orientation. And orientation is tomorrow morning. So, yeah, we're getting. Alright guys, here's the after. Got it all cleaned up. So that's everything. Okay guys, so it's been close to 3 months that I've been home. Going back in service tomorrow. The other van that I have, my 17 Transit, it has also been home, getting a bunch of repairs done on it. And that's what I want to talk to you about. I've touched on it in different videos as far as being good with your money or trying to, you know, not spend frivolously and stupidly. Well, as I said, I'm guilty of it, and that kind of put me in a bind at the beginning of this virus deal and all this shutdown. My 17 Transit ended up kept getting a misfire, replacing the ignition coil, the plug, checking everything out, and then it just kept misfiring each time I go pick it up. And nobody could figure it out at first. Well, then finally they took their time checking it out. Ends up being a head gasket is leaking. The van, when you would first start it up, is when it would run its worst, and if you went to take off within the first 15 minutes of it warming up, you're probably going to get a misfire code on it. But once it warmed up to temp, and it would drive fine. There wouldn't be any kind of misfire unless you put it under a seriously hard load. So it wasn't a horrible leak in the gasket, in the head gasket, but it was a leak nonetheless, and not something I really wanted to mess with, you know, to see how long it would go. It was tempting because money situation was tight at that time, and so to fix the gasket, the head gasket would have been $4,400. $600 of it was parts, and the rest was labor. An engine, to get an engine done, was quoted at around between $8,000 and $9,000. So I didn't have the money to do the engine, the new engine at the time. So then I know a guy, mechanic, and he had found a used 3.5, but only had 10,000 miles on it. And then that's when all hell broke loose. Thought I had it whooped it was basically going to cost me the same to get the used engine for 10,000 miles with the turbos as it was to get the head gasket replaced. So I was like, no brainer. I don't have the money for a new engine, so maybe I'll go and do that. Now, mind you, the reasoning for not doing the head gasket, the engine still ran well and everything, good fuel mileage, no leaks, nothing like that besides that head gasket, is it had 420,000 miles on it. And you have to be extremely confident or knowledgeable to know, like, hey, I know this thing's going to go X amount of more miles if I just do the head gasket. So it was basically, I didn't want a chance doing a head gasket and the bottom end went, so I didn't do the head gasket. I was looking at the engine swap, so did the engine, the used engine, and as soon as I got the engine, the guy that was supposed to do the repairs, he went to jail. So he thinks he's going to get out right away on bond or whatnot. He doesn't get out. He refers somebody to do it. Well, this guy that did it, he starts to work on it, and then him and the original guy have a disagreement, and now the original guy won't let the other guy into the shop to do the work. So my engine was stuck, locked up in a garage for about a month, maybe a little over a month. The owner of the garage wouldn't allow me to go in there, even though I could prove the engine was mine. He didn't want anybody in there without some kind of power of attorney or something, or a notarized letter from the guy that was originally going to do the work. So long story short, it took me a little over a month to get the engine. Finally get the engine out, get the guy to continue the work. A bunch of stuff ends up coming up in the meantime. Somebody died in the family, this happened, that happened, all kinds of bullshit. And now I've only got a 90-day warranty on this engine. Now we're getting close to the 90-day warranty. Finally gets it in there and running after a bunch of other bullshit in between. And once it's running, it still ends up reading a couple codes. The oil light's coming on, the oil pressure light. And it got to the point to where I had like 1 week left for the warranty. I was like, just pull it. Just pull the fucking engine. I'm taking it back, which is what I ended up doing. So I took the engine back, got the money back for the engine, which was $3,200. But I was out the money for the labor for doing the work. Not going to go through all the bullshit trying to fight them over the money and everything. I'm not grimy that way to where I'm going to worry about somebody doing some dumb shit. So went ahead and paid them, which was like $2,000 altogether. And it ended up, basically, the van ended up at Ford getting a crate engine put in it. And so Ford gets it done about 2 weeks. It took Ford about 2 weeks. In the meantime, during the end of that time, rather, the driver decides he doesn't want to go back on the road. His girlfriend gets pregnant. She wants him to be home. So he decides he's not going back out on the road. He sends me a text, of all things. Somebody, mind you, that's supposed to be a friend of mine as well. He just sends me a text. I got a job at Amazon. Oh. Like, okay. Does that mean you're done expediting? Yeah. Tells me the story about her being pregnant, don't want him back out and everything. So now I'm out. The driver. The van's just getting out of the shop. It's getting time to where I need to get back out on the road myself. And everything's... I get the van. Now I have to clean the van. After the driver that was in it, and the shit-ass mechanic that was in it, between the two of them, this sumbitch was nasty. So I get up in there, get all the big, bulky trash out of it, get it cleaned up and everything. I get it all clean. There's grease on the doors, food all wedged in the crevices, candy or something melted in spots. The refrigerator was just disgusting. I'll put some footage on here of all those things. And so I get it all clean. I find myself another driver. I hop in the van. I'm going to go meet the driver to drop the van off, hand the van over to him so that he can go to orientation. I get about a half an hour down the road. I'm hearing some noises I don't like in the rear end. So I tell the driver, I'm going to have to take it to the shop. We're just going to have to chalk it up this week. So I take it to the shop, and the rear end, the internals of the rear end is just shot to shit, the bearings and all that bullshit in there. Good thing is it was under warranty. So I get it in there. I got 1 week, well, about 5 days basically, to get this done and meet up with the driver and get him to orientation, so that we can get this done sooner than later. So they get it done, and they tell me, yeah, we took it for a test drive and it's still making some noises. They pulled it down, still had some issues. From what they're telling me, the mechanic they had wasn't doing something correct, and they also have some kind of new order of doing things with these rear ends, because there's been some issues with these rear ends on the 15 to 17 models. And so they have to keep the van a little longer because they got to order new parts again, get them in, get them done. So I went there today. They told me be done around lunchtime. Talked to them, said it should be done shortly. It's about 11:45. I head out there. I got the van at like a little after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Sat out there in the parking lot waiting. Finally got it. Hopped in the van, threw the mattress in there and everything. And now I'm rushing down to Columbus to meet up with the driver and hand the van off and get him to orientation. So that's what's been going on at the moment as far as trying to get back out. All the bullshit little miscellaneous bullshit is what it is. Obviously, the engine was a big deal, but that was at the beginning, and then just a bunch of stuff in between. But the stuff with the rear end and everything here at the end, that's that's the little ticky-tack stuff that's just like, man, why the hell didn't I know about this earlier? And I had driven the van. I didn't hear all that stuff when I drove it when I first got it back. All I know is the rear end needed done, and it got done. There's a few little minor things I would have liked to have finished up on this. The aftermarket cruise control stick, the set button isn't working. You can still get the cruise control to work by basically turning it off and then hitting the reset button as opposed to the set button. So the cruise control is able to be used at least. I would never want to send a van out without the cruise control. But anyhow, I'll get that fixed later. And I wanted to service the diesel heater. Those are really the main things. I would have liked to have had a little more time just to get it, like I said, just a few miscellaneous things. But overall, everything's good. I've been driving now for about an hour and a half and not feeling or hearing anything worrisome. So everything should be good. I'll be meeting up with the driver here in about, 25-30 minutes.